Former President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, once said,
"The one thing we will never allow anyone in the world to interfere with is our sovereignty."
And I want to appeal to all of you here that we should not accept the intimidation which is coming from the Western world to us as a country.
To manage our minerals correctly so that they are not plundered by those from outside our region and continent.
Africa is a hub for natural resources. It has always been for the West. And now Africa has multiple options.
They should not allow another person to give them a prescription of how Africa should look like or what we need in our Africa, because we know what we need in our Africa.
30 million euros
yes.
that is going to release to the French diplomatic missions to kick off the implementation of this policy. But what is 40 million? When you hear...
We no longer see our minerals going out of our countries as stones and sand.
That you're going to be blocked from going to America. Do I need to go to America?
The United States must understand that Africans are not going to take it anymore.
More than 50 African leaders are found inside China's border right now as we are talking for what they call a China-Africa Summit. This is an assignment which China have signed with Africans where they get to meet after each and every 3 years. We also what happened to the previous one which took place under the lockdown, or should I say during the COVID-19. And this time Africans are found over there. There's a lot we are going to talk about with you in this video. But before that, guys, I want us to discuss a little bit what should Africans, you as an African child, what can you expect from this summit? Well, in order for you to understand that better, I'm first inviting you to watch this report, then I'll be back with more analysis.
Africa is rapidly modernizing, with countless railways, bridges, ports, and even entire cities being built across the continent. A vast majority of that construction is on China's dime. The Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, or FOCAC, which is held every 3 years, will next take place in Beijing on September 4th. It's a big deal because the forum is traditionally when China pledges huge funding commitments for major infrastructure projects in Africa. The last FOCAC was held in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic. China's president pledged at the event to help fund immunization efforts in Africa.
22年，60%非洲人口接种新冠疫苗的目标。我宣布，中国将再向非方提供10亿剂疫苗。
The meeting brings together the highest number of African leaders into one setting to discuss issues that affect China and Africa. The summit will have 4 high-level meetings, and those meetings are state governance, industrialization and agriculture, peace and security, and high-quality Belt and Road.
Those themes would be in line with initiatives Xi unveiled during the 2023 BRICS summit involving host South Africa, as well as Brazil, Russia, India, and China. A year later at FOCAC, Beijing is expected to pursue a key goal of becoming less reliant on the US for agriculture products.
So there are many African countries that are now exporting agricultural products. So in the summit, you'll see more emphasis from China on how they will help Africa expand on their food production by diversifying into other markets. They mitigate those risks.
According to a 2022 study by the Peace Research Institute Oslo, China provided nearly all African countries with security force assistance in the past 2 decades. Some experts say there will be interest in how China plans to deal with political volatility on the African continent.
Peace and security will be a major theme on how China can help those African countries resolve some of the conflicts I mean, some of those countries have had conflicts. So China appointed an envoy to help with conflict resolution.
China's Belt and Road Initiative is also expected to be a top priority at the forum. In recent years, Beijing began scaling back large infrastructure projects, pivoting instead to what it calls small but beautiful additions to the initiative. That's after a number of major infrastructure projects encountered financial problems that drew international attention. That also came as some African countries have sought debt relief from major creditors. Some experts say China is more likely to focus on smaller, less risky, and more profitable projects with environmental and social benefits.
It's encouraging something we call build, operate, then transfer kind of model. Those are public-private partnerships where Chinese companies are now building those projects, and then they they operate some of those projects for a number of years to recoup their investments. In the past few years, we have seen subdued economic growth in China. I mean, the real estate crisis that has affected consumption for some of the materials that come from Africa into the Chinese real estate or infrastructure industry. That could be one of the reasons why in the past few years we have seen declining financial commitments to African countries.
Guys, before I get to comment more about the footage which I just played for you, I want first to analyze something together with you guys. Why African leaders, they seem to be so excited when they are visiting China or when they are attending this summit in China? Why African leaders, they seem to represent themselves with their presence without sending their delegates, compared to the US Africa Summit which took place under Joe Biden, where we saw about 17 African leaders sabotage him to not show up their presence over there. Instead, they choose to send their representative in different positions, such as premier ministers, foreign ministers, or whoever the African leaders feel comfortable to send over there to the US. Don't you think that there's another message which the Western, they are getting from African leaders, whereby when it comes to Russia and China, you will see African leaders that are so excited they even go there in their presence. Remember, when the Russia organized this summit with African leaders, we saw such military leaders such as Ibrahim Traore have to travel all the way in the military uniform to go and attend this summit. Why they never do this when it comes to the US Africa Summit? That is another way of understanding that something is happening here between African leaders and the Western. And before we get into develop more, let me back now to the video that I play for you. Guys, when you see China Africa, or when you see China in Africa, we see manufacturers, we see jobs, we see development, we see technologies, we see a lot of things. We see mutual respect of one another. So we see a China that comes in Africa not to steal, not to loot, not to take things by force in Africans, but we see a China who comes in Africa to collaborate as partners. You don't have a railway, as we are here, we can provide a railway for you. No, we noticed that you don't have national roads. We are here, we can build a road from Polokwane to Free State. From there, you guys, you could just allow us to collect the tax of this road or the money on this road for 10 years. After 10 years, this road is all yours. Oh no, you don't have a power station. Your people are going through load shedding. Therefore, we are willing to help you with this and in exchange of this. That kind of creativities, that kind of ideas, that kind of mutual respect on how to approach each other in order to collaborate is what make these African leaders to become even more excited in order for them to start dealing or trading with the China or Russia. African leaders, they seem to be more excited to go and attend China and African summits because they could see that the kind of treatment which they are receiving from this Chinese and Russia, it is way far different to the one that they've been receiving from the Western, whether it is France, Africa continent, whether it is British Africa, whether it is US Africa. The kind of treatment they've been receiving, it's not the same. Let me give you a very easy example, which you are more familiar with. Look at here. So, we're seeing African leaders in the US being welcomed, instead of them being welcomed by their homologue President Joe Biden, they are being welcomed by a so-called Secretary of the States, Mr. Blinken. And is the one who have to talk with them about the bilateral, discussing with them about different matters.
Good evening, everyone. So, I am here to tell you that we have another 10 speakers who will soon be coming. We are so thrilled to have you here at the State Department. Now, I have not heard or seen this room this animated in the 2 years that I've been here. So there's something in the water. By the way, you are in the Ben Franklin room.
Blah, 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 blah. And they will take these African leaders, putting them, all of them in one room, just for them to go and talk to a small individual, not even a head of the state as they are. That kind of minimization, that kind of negligence of other world leaders, it's kind of like you are collecting your sheep, and then you're like, no, look, I'm your master. I'm the one who have to tell you what to do in your country. I'm the one who have the last word to say in your country politics or in your business, your economy, whatsoever it is. Name it as you wish. That kind of lowering other people, African leaders, with Africans, they are tired of it. They're like, no, we can't have this. And that's what's been happening in the US whenever they bring African leaders. Whether it is during the UN summit, it's very hard for an African leader to be welcome inside the White House. If they are doing so, you must know that it is after many years, as we saw President of Kenya, President William Ruto, they welcome him in the White House. You should see the reason why they have to welcome him there.
President Biden is welcoming the president of Kenya to the White House this afternoon for the beginning of a state visit. William Ruto is the first leader of an African country to receive this honor since 2008. Elijah, why has it been so long since an African nation has been invited to the U.S. for an official state visit? And tell us also why the Biden administration chose Kenya.
Well, this is the 60th year, the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Kenya. And that is just one of the many reasons that the administration says that it chose to invite Kenya. As for the timing, Lana, the world has certainly changed a lot since 2008, and so has Africa's place as the world continues to deal with global issues, with Africa being at the center and really rising in its place when it comes to the economy and the global economy, which is another reason why the administration has chosen Kenya.
Now, on the other side, we're having China, we're having Russia. But this time I don't want to focus more on Russia. I just want to talk more about China because that's what's happening right now. Look at each and every African leaders who was welcomed in China. See the kind of treatment they welcome these African leaders. We saw President Xi Jinping himself coming forward and welcome these African leaders in red carpets. We saw him sitting down with them and having conversation with them.
This year marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China and the 30th anniversary of the founding of the new South Africa. Despite the ever-changing international situation, the mission of modernization for both China and South Africa remains unchanged.
I reaffirmed that our political rapport and relationship is the foundation of an unwavering and valuable friendship. We remain committed to the One China policy. Our two countries share many common objectives. Building on the firm foundation of solidarity, we continue to provide support in promoting our interests.
That is something that we don't usually see the US or the Europeans usually do. So these African leaders, they feel so well treated. They feel so welcome in these countries. They feel so well respected. And this may end up making them feel more excited to always go whenever this occasion comes forward. They will go there because they know very well that, here at least, they will welcome me in my red carpet. Here at least, I'll have a word to say. And after they listen to me, they'll also have something better to say. Here at least, my people back in Africa, they won't judge me. They won't call me a puppet because they know the kind of partner that we're dealing with. Those are the kind of the thoughts that run in the mind of these African leaders who are found over there. So the Western, they have messed up a lot to the point that African leaders, they have understand them with their games. And they feel like we don't have time again for this kind of people. We don't need to have this kind of partners who keep on disrespecting us each and every time whenever the opportunity shows up. We don't have this kind. We don't need to have this kind of partners who don't consider our values as head of the state, who still have to see Africa continent with Africans as their slave in the 21st centuries. So these African leaders, they have understand this game, and that is the clear message they've been trying to pass to the Western for all this time, that we are no longer your slave. Time has moved out. We have now to do things differently. We have now to commit in different activities. We need to act like people who have the mutual respect of one another. If you guys were failing to do so, all just because you are having your world organizations that you can use against us, all just because you are having your sanctions that you can come and impose on us, we don't care anymore. And African leaders, they are finding a way out to have new partners, to do things differently, so that they can end up becoming the true leaders that their people, they've been requesting from them. So don't be surprised that African leaders, they went to China. Right now, African leaders, they have found it more better or easy for them to collaborate more with the countries such as China or Russia or Brazil or India than dealing with these other NATO countries who are full of themselves, whom we know that they are the crooks, who we know that they are the big mafias who don't really respect democracies. But when they come forward, they just want like, hey, we're your big brother. What can you say? So that kind of behaviors is what Africans are tired. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please feel free to drop us your comment in the comment section. Tell us also what you think about the visit of African leader in the Republic of China, Russia, China. Yeah, by the way, same WhatsApp group. So tell us what you think about it and share your opinion as well. It will really add a 1+ to what we've been discussing with you over here. So for now, that will be all. Don't forget to like this video in your numbers so that it can be recommended to many people to watch it as well. But if you find something beneficial in this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more video to come. For now, continue to be yourself, be cool, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.